Hey guys, I'm Coach Jay. I live in Ponte Vedra, Florida. I'm a mental performance coach. I work with high school athletes who are going off to play college sports. And I also, other half of my business is college athletes that are trying to stay in college or play better. I wanted to talk about entitled kids today. And I brought my little friend, the Grinch today because man, I know that this video is not going to be well received by some parents, and that's okay. It's only my opinion, and if you don't agree with it, that's totally fine. I've done probably 15,000 hours of counseling over the years, and I've had to work with a lot of entitled kids. And truth be told, if you have wealth, we all have the potential to be entitled. I'm really not trying to point fingers at anybody, and I'm not definitely not going to call anybody out, but just entitled kids are not fun to be around, and they're definitely not fun to work with. And I have worked with some, and then I ended relationships with some too, because it just doesn't work. And I'm here to help people. I'm not trying to help people that think they're too good for me and for everybody else. So all that being said, let's just talk about a little bit. Entitled kids, usually as a early indicator, the parents when they first reach out to me, everything is I'm not that parent. That's usually open up with I'm not that parent who thinks my son's going to play in the MLB. But now, whenever they say but, that tells you the last thing they just said is back to zero. This is what they really believe. And usually the next thing is, but he is very talented, probably one of the best players on his team. We don't understand why he's not getting playing time. And so it just kind of a lot of that stuff follows. And, you know, because I live in Ponte Vedra. I live in St. Johns County, which is the wealthiest county in the state of Florida. And, I also lived in Atlanta, in North Atlanta, and you got a lot of that same type, that same profile people up there. I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm just saying, you know, people have a lot of resources. They have money to spend on things. Kids think they're better than others, and they think that they should be a starter because they're on a team. They think they should be given things, and typically entitled kids always think they're better than their peers, and it doesn't. They don't really care as much about work ethic. Well, I went to practice. Well, these kids went to practice and they did these other things. Well, I go to a trainer too, but it's more of an attitude thing that I deserve to be given extra looks. I deserve to be this. And the truth is, that's not the athlete's decision. That is the coach's decision. He will decide who starts. It is in his best interest to start the best players so that he wins, so he gets to keep his job. If he loses by playing worse players, he's going to get fired and his coaching career may end. So with the entitled kids, they don't want to do the work. They think they should be given a specific position, a top position like a quarterback or something like that because of what they've done in the past. But you know they don't think they got to do what the other people have to do. And I remember I had a friend. I had a friend. Not going to give too much information, but I had a friend and a whole group of people were working on this thing, this project where it was like a leadership thing, and they all sat on the airplane in coach, and he got his ticket upgraded to first class, so he was not with the rest of the group. He sat in first class, and let me tell you, these people never forgave him for this. And he's also the guy that when they went on a Boy Scout trip, instead of eating out there in the cold with the other kids and it was at the fire, he took his kid and they went over to Waffle House and they got them a nice warm warm breakfast where it wasn't 35 degrees, or so that is definitely an entitled person. Like, that is just something that's not, that that is just not a good trait. And is to my parents, they made me do a lot of these kind of things that I did not really want to do. I wanted to be entitled, but they didn't allow me to do it. They made me, I did have to go on the Boy Scout trips, and I did have to stay there in the cold and sleep and do those kind of things. And as much as I wanted to quit, as much as I wanted to do these things, there was a lot of life lessons that I learned from this stuff. And you start to believe in yourself, you start to have confidence. And sometimes in those moments where you're not bailed out, you learn about yourself, and you grow up. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do with our kids. We're just trying to help them grow up. We want them to be independent adults. We don't want them living with us when they're 25 years old, because all they know is mom and dad taking care of them. But usually with the parents, when their kids are entitled, when I say, tell me about your son, they will talk for 40 minutes straight about just trying to prove how great they are. And I can't even hardly get a word in edgewise. And that's a clear indicator to me. They just want to be heard, and they just want to get their message and what they believe out there. And it's hard to listen to all that, because I can connect the dots on kids pretty quickly. They do this, they're on this team. Yeah, I get it. You're not going to be on that team unless you're good. But a lot of times the parents are selling it so much, and it's very hard. It's very hard to hear. And on some of these parents, we kind of crash, because I I'm here to help the athlete get better. And I'm also here to help the athlete enjoy their sport. I'm not, these are 15, 16, 17, 21-year-old kids. They're not, they're not income earners. This isn't a job. It's supposed to be sport. It's supposed to be fun. We want them to be good at it, but you can't treat them like it's a job, like it's a task. If you do, they'll burn out. So, with the entitled kids, they basically, they're late for appointments. They're constantly wanting to move appointments, and when they move it, give me an hour's notice. I bill them full charge for the time that we were supposed to meet. And because I have a schedule. I'm working with kids all day long. I got a full schedule. You can't just cancel out an hour before an appointment. The world does not work like that. You do that in any doctor's office, they're going to charge you full pay. So I mean, I do the same thing. And when it stings, they'll make a change. But you know, it's not fun working with a person who thinks they can call you up when you've set aside a time for them to be, to work through their stuff and help them get better. And then they just, hey, I'm going to a movie with a friend of mine. Can you reschedule me? Like, that is seriously entitled. It's seriously entitled. Now, all that being said, every kid out there, they all need to grow up. They all need to be more mature. They all need to do better. And as parents, that's our job to help them get there. It's our job to help them learn what getting better is: being respectful, being professional, being polite, being a good sportsman, sportsmanship, all those things. These are qualities we want our kids to have. So I just want to kind of talk about that entitled thing. It's something that, if you're able to spot it in other people, then that means that you probably should take a look at the mirror yourself. Their kids entitled. There are a lot of kids entitled. When I go out there to games and things, I see a lot of entitled. Moms are bringing food to their kids and all kinds of stuff where, there's no planning on behalf of the kids. And these moms are just trying to create this huge safety net, trying to help them out all the time. And all of that is, it's not good training. Not good training for an adult. And so, the truth is, a lot of people, they're going to argue with me about this stuff. And if when they do, that means I'm right over the target. That's just the truth. And the reality is that maybe you got plenty of money and you can treat people like that, and you feel like that you should get special people should take care of you, on you should get special protection, you should get special services. And the truth is that the world is not going to reward that for your kid when they go into college. And a lot of times when they try that in high school, it's going to get called out by somebody who's a coach who doesn't have that same kind of wealth, and they just want to know it, they just want to know that they're a hard worker. So I am not attacking anybody, and I'm not, and if you've done some of these things, then I'm not sitting here pointing at you saying you're a bad person. All I'm telling you is that as a general rule, entitled kids don't do as well moving up the ladder in sports. They just don't. They don't have as many friends, not as many people care about them. It's all about me, me, me. And as a general rule, that's not going to work well in sports. So, you know, I am constantly trying to give kids the benefit of the doubt, but I definitely call kids out when I feel like they're being bratty, when I feel like their body language is bad, when I feel like they're just being inappropriate. I'm gonna call them out on it, and because I don't want to work with people like that, and those aren't good. They're not going to be good adults either, because you got to have some compassion. You got to be humble. You got to be caring about other people. You got to do something that helps, helping other people, plugging into the world in a way where you can contribute in a positive way. So I got Mr. Grinch in the background because I know that this is, some people are seeing me right now as Mr. Grinch, and I get it, and that's okay. I mean, I'm just giving you my opinion, and I'm the kids I work with, they know how I feel about this stuff, and the parents, they thank me for helping them to see this in a better way in many cases. So, you're totally entitled to disagree with me, and you may have your own feelings about this, and that's okay. But all I'm telling you is I'm working with athletes every single day, and I know about performance, and I know about kids that perform at a high level. And entitlement is usually it kills it. It kills what we're trying to do. And it is, it's not good for teams. Coaches don't like players that are entitled, and as a general rule, you're being talked about behind your back. That's just how it works, because I hear about this stuff. And so, all that being said, I'm Coach Jay. You can find me on College Scout FB on X. I'm listed on Psychology Today as Coach Jay. I'm down in Ponte Vedra, Florida. What else? And sportsintervention.com is my webpage. So I hope this helps. And we're just trying to make the world a better place. All right. Good talking to you. God bless.